One night, one match, one shot at the Portland Sports Arena. Some have never looked back. Others, we never saw again. Welcome to One Match Wonders, where we shine the light on the forgotten names and surprising cameos from Don Owens Portland Wrestling. I'm Frank Culbertson, your host, and today we've got 3 fascinating footnotes, each with a story worth remembering. Let's start with a name that led us on a research detour, Rich Miller. On October 2nd, 1973, Portland newspapers reported that Sean Regan beat Rich Miller. Simple enough, right? Except no one, and I mean no one, in wrestling circles seems to know who Rich Miller was. So we checked the local papers. We looked at previous cards. At first, we thought maybe it was Frenchy Robillard, a guy who filled in on Portland cards now and then. But Robillard was wrestling in Nova Scotia that very night. Then we checked Sean Regan's travel. He was coming in from Vancouver. And guess who was working in Vancouver at the time? Frenchy Martin, also known over the years as Pierre Martin and Don Gagne. He was active in Stampede and had stints in Puerto Rico before eventually making it to the WWF as a manager. So here's what we think happened. Don Owen calls in the results to the local newspaper, gets to Frenchy Martin, and the reporter writes down Frenchy Robillard instead. And somehow, between transcription errors or lazy editing, we get Rich Miller. Well, the match happened. The name didn't. But for one night in Portland, Frenchy Martin made an uncredited appearance, and we believe that's most likely the truth. Frenchy Martin passed away in 2016, and now maybe we finally put his Portland match back under the right name. Next, let's talk about Jerry Monti. On May 12, 1975, he wrestled and lost to Haru Sasaki at the Portland Sports Arena. That was his only recorded match there, but Monti's name carried weight in the business. Monti had been in Portland years earlier, in 1966 and 1968, but he made his home in San Francisco, where he was trusted by promoters, even if he rarely won a match. He was what they called the measuring stick. If you were new to a territory, they'd put you in the ring with Monti. If you could keep up with him, maybe you had a future. He even had a run in Vancouver working under the name Gary Romano and held the tag titles there with Big John Quinn. Now, Monti wasn't a star. He was a craftsman, the kind of guy every territory needed but rarely celebrated. In Portland, it was just one match, but for Monti, it was part of a bigger pattern. One night, one test, one more new guy learning the ropes. Finally, we head to 1978, and a man we thought was a Vancouver regular, Denny Alberts. But the deeper we looked, the more we realized Alberts was a true territory guy. He wrestled in Detroit, Tri-States, Tennessee, Mid-Atlantic, St. Louis, Central States, even Southwest. He went from Indianapolis to Vancouver, where he spent the summer of 1978. During that stint, he made one appearance in Portland, just one. He lost to Lanny Holiday. Then he was back out, onto the next territory, another ring, another night. Guys like Albert made the wrestling world go around. They filled out the cards, kept the action believable, and moved on without fanfare. That's the kind of career that doesn't fill a Hall of Fame reel, but it fills the memory of fans who saw them when it counted. So who was Rich Miller? Maybe nobody. Who was Frenchy Martin? A legend in the making. Jerry Monti? A trusted hand and a test of talent. And Denny Alberts, a traveler on the wrestling highway who passed through Portland just once. Hey, thanks for joining me on One Match Wonders. New episodes drop every Tuesday and Friday. Subscribe, share, and like, and come back next time, because even one night in Portland wrestling tells a story worth remembering. If you've enjoyed these stories from Portland Wrestling's Forgotten Names, there's one book you need to own. The Encyclopedia of Portland Wrestlers by wrestling historian Mike Rogers is the definitive guide to Don Owens' wrestling empire. Over 500 pages of names, match results, and history, covering every wrestler who ever stepped foot inside the Portland sports arena. From Roddy Piper to Rip Oliver, from the stars to the one-match wonders, it's all in here. Available now on Amazon. It's the Encyclopedia of Portland Wrestlers, because if they wrestled here, they're in here.